If you're Mike Dunleavy, which approach are you taking? Which one are you doing?
If I'm Mike Dunleavy, I'm going and getting Vucevic, Levine, or Jimmy Butler. I don't really care. I don't care what happens to anybody else. I'm doing that. I'm doing that.
Do you trade Kuminga? Do you trade Kuminga for a player? Do you sign Kuminga to an extension?
Because of his age, if I can keep him because he doesn't really cost that much, I'm fine with giving up Wiggins and trading him. Any combination is fine. You don't lose 5 less games because you traded either one of those guys. I mean, you have to look at it that way. What happens in the postseason? Oh no, we lost to the Mavericks because we didn't have Kuminga. That's not what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to happen. I mean, and it comes back to you were hearing about those Utah Jazz rumors, right? Lauri Markkanen. They were apparently asking for Kuminga. They were asking for pods and some draft picks. Wouldn't you have done that? If your dad guaranteed you Lauri Markkanen, wouldn't you have done that? Okay, maybe Danny Ainge is asking for 5 draft picks and those 2 players. Go ahead, just do it, right? This is at the point where we've come to now, where we're like, damn, we should have probably just done that. I don't know. Would you have done? No, you still wouldn't have done that.
Pods is no. You cannot trade pods. You can't.
What?
No.
Pods is, you can. I'm kidding. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. I was like, damn. So we're gonna have to get into something right now. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We're at this point in the season where we're like, damn, pods and Kuminga and 5 first-round picks. Just do it. Why not?
Yeah. There's still plenty of opportunity. I don't have in front of me who's going to be a free agent next year or wait it out to see who gets mad again and probably lose anyway because God forbid Moses Moody's not on the team anymore. So Melton's movable now. After the 15th, Melton's movable. That's 15 or so million. They can put something together and get somebody. It's more so a matter of do they have the balls to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Does Mike Dunleavy actually have the balls to pull the trigger? Is where we're at. All right, let's talk a little bit about, like you said, who cares about what it looks like after Steph? But let's talk about that. What do you see is going to happen to the Warriors? Let's say, Steph plays another 4 years. He retires sometime in 2029. He retires after that season. Warriors haven't won a title. They've signed Kuminga to the max deal. Draymond's retired. What do you think the Warriors are going to be after Steph, I guess is the question. You've kind of hinted at it, who cares? But, because they're probably not going to be anything. But if they continue kind of how they're on this trajectory that they're on, let's say they don't trade for anyone, they don't really maximize Steph's, last few years, what do you see for the Warriors, after 2030 and beyond?
I would say it depends on what form the front office is at drafting players. Assuming they're of the same ilk of drafting players now and they're a bad team, they'll be hit or miss. Look at San Antonio. Pretty good front office that not pretty good at scouting and drafting guys that can play, that have talent. And they get to a point where it's a no-brainer and you get a player like a Zion, like the Pelicans or Cleveland or any of these teams that post superstar era or just were bad for 76ers. That's where you are. Why would you be anything else? You lost an all-time great. What makes you think you deserve to be any better than that? Miami, all these teams that had a really good run are going to have a 3 to 5 year stretch of poor or mediocrity. That's going to happen. There's no scenario where it doesn't, unless all of a sudden they draft someone like Pods and he is amazing and he's not actual Pods that we have now. Okay, maybe it is disrespect to Pods, but either way, they just hit on the draft picks. But it's more likely that they're just bad for a long time, and the more often you get to pick in the top 6, top 5, the more likely you are at eventually accruing enough draft picks to be good again.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, Steph's gone. Kerr has to be gone. Kerr's not built for, a rebuild. Right. He has to be gone. So you got to start over. Got to hope Mike Dunleavy actually knows what he's doing when he's drafting players. We don't know what's his track record just yet. So I think that's really it. I think, if we're in 2030, no titles for Steph and he's retired, I think the Warriors are not going to be a place where free agents really want to come. Because they were like, damn, look what they did to Steph. They didn't go out and, help Steph win another ring or do at least try it or anything. Players notice these things, right? And then the Bay Area, again, super expensive place to live. Players want to go to Texas and things like that where they get tax breaks. I don't think the Warriors have a chance to be competitive unless they draft well, and they'd have to get tons of picks, they're gonna have to like do an Oklahoma City type of rebuild where, hey, we traded for a guy, kind of like they traded for SGA. Turns out, man, that guy is a superstar. And Thunder made a hard decision at that time to trade Paul George for SGA, and it worked out in their favor. So they got. If the Warriors are gonna have to get a lot of draft picks and hope they hit on maybe even 10% of those picks, right? And that's what the Thunder did. They just took like 100 picks and like, hey, if we hit on like 5 of these guys, we're good. So I mean, I think that's the plan for them.
Yeah. No, I think you can harbor a culture where you get guys that are like pretty good ballers, and you do like in Miami where you just trade for one really good player like Jimmy Butler because you have the cap space. I mean, that's not impossible either, where it doesn't matter if you're like a great destination or your reputation as an organization is cream of the crop or not. It's we have the cap space and we can just give Zion Williamson in his second extension $70 million a year, just for example. That's also in the card just because you can pay someone and he wants to live in California. 70 mil and high taxes be damned.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Osama, we're gonna wrap this up here, but where do you think the Warriors end this season? What do you think is happening with the Warriors at the end of this season? Where are they?
They're gonna be in the play, and they're not gonna trade for anything.
I was afraid you were gonna say that, and the sad part is that's the scenario that seems the most believable for me. Is like they don't trade anyone. They're sitting at 9-10. They're in a play-in game. They're losing to the San Antonio Spurs in a play-in because they can't stop Wemby. And that's the season. They're like, oh, we'll figure it out again next summer. And like we're gonna have the same problems.
All this hopeful gas baggery, and we don't believe any of it. It's gonna happen.
we don't believe any of it. If they trade for Vucevic, I will say, I think they get maybe 7th, 8th seed. Like I think he makes that kind of difference where they jump up a seed or two. Just with this like fit with Steph and Green. Maybe we should ask Khaled the after his interview with the Zodiac GM whether Vucevic is a good synergy fit here for the Warriors. But I think that's really it, right? Like they got to make a trade. They don't make a trade. I can't see them being beyond 8 or like 9 in the play-in games.
If they do make the trade, you kind of like rewind the Bart Simpson gif and take the cake out of the trash, and it says at least you tried.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, at least they tried. Right? At least you can't blame them. And even but like again, they might still be sitting at the 18th, still in the play-in, even with the Vucevic trade, right? All right, cool, man. It was fun chopping it up about the Warriors. We don't believe any of it. We don't believe in Mike Dunleavy. We're not gonna believe that Mike Dunleavy's gonna do anything. But if you and me were Mike Dunleavy, maybe shit got done for the Warriors.